This course is sponsored by the Bob Woodruff Foundation. We would like to thank the Bob Woodruff Foundation for their generosity in making this course possible.
I'm excited to partner with PsychArmor to make this training available. In 2006, I was injured while reporting on the war in Iraq. During my recovery alongside service members and in my work serving veterans and their families ever since, I've witnessed both their resilience and their potential to positively impact the communities to which they return. We've learned that supporting community-based collaborative efforts that support veterans is critical to this vision. Collectively, these collaboratives have the power to change the systems that serve our veterans. We know that in collaboratives, partners often have day jobs on top of their cooperative work. There's never enough money or time, and the payoff of the collaboration isn't immediate. It can feel like being on a roller coaster that climbs and never coasts. For collaboratives to be successful in the long run, they must develop practices that make the work sustainable. If collaborative leaders understand the process of collaboration as a cycle, they're better able to anticipate and mitigate loss of momentum. In this course, we'll take a deep dive into one model for sustaining momentum. By the end of this course, you'll understand the 4 phases of the collaboration eco-cycle, the 4 traps between those phases, and have some solutions to sustain energy and action when momentum might be stalling. One of the greatest challenges facing collaborators over time is sustaining momentum and deepening engagement. The initial energy around a collaborative effort is often very hopeful and motivated, but it's important to view collaboration as a marathon and not a sprint. Realistically, it won't always be full speed ahead, and I'm here to tell you that's normal. Collaborative efforts to influence systemic change are rarely simple or linear. The eco-cycle model provides a framework for understanding complex and adaptive cycles. Applied to the collaboration process, it can help leaders determine where stagnancy may be setting in. The eco-cycle model, illustrated here, visualizes renewal loops in the natural world like a forest and in human-made cycles like the collaborative process. The eco-cycle is a visual way to show how a collaborative goes through a renewal loop, which can be divided into 4 phases. Let's borrow an analogy from the world of biology, where this concept originated. The first phase is the development phase. In a forest, this is when young trees spring up across the woodland. In a collaboration, the equivalent is at the start of a project, when new ideas abound. The group learns together through trial and error, and resources are spread over a variety of projects and activities. The maturity phase incorporates in-depth planning and allocating resources to predictably successful activities. As the forest matures and plant life competes for resources, some trees thrive while others wither. In collaboration, this phase focuses resources on viable ideas and streamlines operations for efficiency. While leaders yearn for maturity, it's not an end state. The next phase is creative destruction. In the forest, this might be the fire that eliminates dead and decaying plants while depositing nutrients to prepare the earth for a new growth. In a collaborative, this sometimes difficult phase requires evaluating and discarding activities that aren't responsive enough to current needs. By letting go of tasks that no longer serve their goals, the collaborative creates conditions for new ideas to spring up and take root. The last phase of the eco-cycle is renewal and exploration. At this phase, our patch of forest has newly enriched soil and there's lots of possibility, as well as a fair bit of uncertainty around what regrowth will look like. Collaborative leaders in this phase find themselves reallocating resources and cultivating new connections to foster the next round of ideation and cooperation. Between the phases of the cycles, there are moments during which collaboratives can feel stuck, stalling momentum. These are known as traps, and each has its own distinct traits. When collaborative leaders learn to anticipate the traps, they are able to address and overcome them without progress grinding to a halt. Here are the traps to be aware of. 1. The parasitic trap. can occur between the development and maturity phases. This is characterized by challenges with growth or sustainability of projects and a dependence on a startup pool of resources. Imagine that a collaborative assesses and prioritizes the top 5 needs in their veteran community. They agree on potential projects to move the needle and find that they only have the time and talent resources to invest in 3 projects this year. If they begin work on 5 projects, a spectrum of things could happen. Best case, 3 of 5 properly resourced projects succeed. Worst case, all 5 projects die on the vine for lack of adequate investment. 2. Between the maturity and creative destruction phases is the rigidity trap. The phrase, "we've always done it like this," is an indicator of being caught in this trap. The fear of uncertainty, lack of exit rules, the pressure to continue with entrenched constituency, and fear of failure are the hallmarks of this trap. 3. The chronic disaster trap falls between the creative destruction and renewal exploration phases. This includes an inability to let go of the past, signs of weak trust between stakeholders, and difficulty agreeing on a shared vision. 4. The scarcity trap occurs between the renewal exploration phase and the restart of the development phase in the eco-cycle. It's marked by a lack of compelling ideas, underdeveloped decision-making processes, and low energy due to active participants who are spread too thin. So what happens when your collaborative or certain partners become stuck in one of these traps? The first step is to open a conversation about why. The next is to come to agreement on what is causing the momentum to stall. The third step is to brainstorm strategies to invigorate momentum. Luckily, there are some field-tested strategies your collaborative can employ to encourage sustained momentum. Engage leaders from multiple organizations to serve on action teams or working groups. Once collaboratives have prioritized the problems they want to tackle first, leaders can rally small, focus groups to work on solutions. By forming action teams or working groups, collaboratives can build engagement, foster trust, and find common ground among partners. Smaller, focus groups are more agile and productive, which leads to progress for the collaborative at large. Action team leaders update the entire collaborative during regular convenings so that stakeholders are aware of progress. Another method to help sustain momentum is developing a plan for recruiting and onboarding new leaders in the collaborative for a fresh view. Build in processes that help your collaborative attract and support new leaders. For example, one collective impact initiative in South Texas developed an onboarding process for leaders joining the work to review the initiative's history and future plans. A collaborative in Oakland, California, plays trust-building games at board meetings every time a new leader is added. Peer leaders often participate in the onboarding of new members to provide another perspective. Demonstrating quick wins can also keep partners engaged. Brainstorm potential situations in which you can expect results in a relatively short time frame, such as 3 to 6 months. Quick wins require a limited amount of resources in terms of money, time, and people. The results should be short-term outputs, not the ultimate outcome. A quick win should align with at least one of the strategy areas of the group, and it should generate some lessons learned that can be applied elsewhere within the collaborative. Be sure to plan for the future by outlining a clear plan for evaluating intermediate and long-term impact. Beyond demonstrating quick wins, another way to sustain momentum is to keep partners focused on what you are striving to accomplish in their intermediate and long term. Reminding partners what you ultimately hope to achieve, for example, improvements in service delivery for veterans, and how you plan to track that progress over time will keep people motivated and engaged in the collaborative. Set aside time in each meeting for moments of learning and reflection. Examples might include a story of impact from a different partner at the start of each meeting, or a peer assist hour in which someone comes into the meeting with a question about which they'd like group feedback. Another example might be a failing forward moment, during which someone shares a recent challenge in his or her work that resulted in helpful learning. In summary, sustaining momentum and engagement among partners requires effort. Understanding the eco-cycle's renewal loop of development, maturity, creative destruction, and renewal exploration can help collaboratives recognize when stagnation is occurring. Be aware of the traps, the parasitic, rigidity, chronic disaster, and scarcity traps that can impede progress during the eco-cycle. Engaging leaders from multiple organizations at the working group level is helpful, along with recruiting new leaders who have a fresh view. Be able to show quick wins as a positive motivator. Perform continuous evaluation of intermediate and long-term impact, and look into continuous learning to improve processes. To learn more about using the eco-cycle model to sustain your collaborative's momentum, please explore the resources linked on this course's homepage. The Collective Impact Forum offers articles from other successful collaboratives, such as Sustaining Momentum and Collective Impact, a story from the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, Tamarack Institute's The Eco-Cycle Mapping Tool, and New Systems Thinking Tool.
Thank you for taking the time to learn about this important topic and about our nation's military, veterans, and their family members. If you have any questions about this course or need assistance, please visit the PsycArmor website or call the PsycArmor support line at 844-779-2427.